Hi guys, Andrew from ActiveChat here. Welcome to our weekly podcast where we talk about all things AI. We discuss recent advancements in the conversational AI space and where we are doing our best to help you guys get the most out of both the recent advancements in the field of AI and generative AI in particular, and also introduce you to how you should be using ActiveChat to apply these specific large language models and other generative AI tools to your day-to-day tasks in customer service, in sales, and so on. I'm together with Ina, our head of operations, and Ina will be helping us with live chat, with comments, both on YouTube and on LinkedIn. And Ina, hi, nice to meet you.
Hey.
Nice to see you today. So without any further ado, let's jump to the presentation. Our today's session won't be too long. I believe you could expect something like 30 to 40 minutes. We'll introduce you to basic concepts behind two new advancements. I mean assistants and functions in OpenAI API, and how this can be applied to real-life situations. So first, I would like to introduce the new interface that you have at the OpenAI Playground and put you in front of some basic concepts that I would love you could understand so that our today's journey, so that you can get the most of our today's journey. So when you were working with OpenAI previously, you were mostly using the completion endpoint, and that's exactly what ChatGPT does. They are using the completion endpoint to get the response that can be sent to customer. Instead of this, recently OpenAI introduced a brand new, I would say, ideology, where you have three core concepts that you can use in your conversational AI automation. And the first one is a thread. A thread is basically a set of messages that were exchanged by the user and the conversational AI agent during a specific conversation session. This thread can be quite long. It can include all the interactions that were happening between you and your customer for quite a long period of time, or it can be quite short, like a single live chat session or a single interaction on your website. And these threads are used by OpenAI and other large language models. I believe something similar will be introduced in other frameworks also, and the same concept can already be used with LangChain and with our LangChain integration. So these threads act as sources of context for the model that is working on these threads. And then on top of that, you have something that OpenAI calls assistants. And assistants are instances of GPT models, of different models by OpenAI that can work on the whole thread. I mean, on the whole set of conversations. So keeping the context of the conversation is now done for you by OpenAI. And if you're implementing a specific solution for your use case, all you have to do is just to send new customer messages to OpenAI. They will be stored on their backend. And this way, every time, at every moment in time, OpenAI's models will have the complete context of your interaction with your customer. And if you create multiple assistants, and you can create quite a lot in your OpenAI dashboard and also in ActiveChat with our native OpenAI integration, when you create a new assistant, each of these assistants can serve a specific function. And that takes me back to something that we discussed in our previous podcast. And this is large language models orchestration. Let me switch for a moment here. You can see that when you are using different large language models, and when you want to combine them into a complete product that is performing some specific task or a set of tasks for your customers, you need to arrange them in a specific manner. And why you need orchestration at all? I believe that many of you imagine AI and generative AI as something universal that can be taught anything, and that can some entity that can perform almost any task. But this is not true, and like for humans, for AI, specialization and narrowing the scope of tasks that a specific model can perform greatly improves the performance. And the same applies to humans also. When you try to be like the best for everyone, eventually you cannot be even good for everyone. That's why it's important to use a set of specific models. Each of these models can be fine-tuned and arranged so that it is best at performing some specific tasks. We'll be looking into an example or two later today. And what I mean here, that when designing your conversational AI experience in this new framework of different large language models and assistants, you have to keep in mind that I believe you are already familiar with the idea of skills within ActiveChat. And essentially, the same applies to these models also. Building a set of your large language models and a set of different assistants within OpenAI interface or within ActiveChat interface means that you should define a scope of work for each of these. And I will try to show you today how exactly you can achieve this. So let's get back to the key concepts. So each of these assistants that you have here has access to the whole conversation history, to the whole context of the conversation between this agent and a specific customer. And then each of these assistants can have access to a different set of tools. And tools is the third concept that I would like to introduce today. Tools are quite different. I'll switch to OpenAI Playground interface in a moment to show you how exactly it looks like. But tools are something that assistants can use to perform specific tasks. This can be data retrieval when they use a set of files or other information that you provide to a specific assistant. Instead of fine-tuning the model on a specific data set, you can just extract information from this set. Yeah, please have my apologies. It looks like I have some connectivity issues today. I'm on a Starlink, and for some reason the connection is very poor today. Maybe if I switch off my video, it will be better. Not sure. Anyway, the recording will be available, and you'll be able to view the recording in perfect quality later. So each of these tools can be used to perform specific tasks, and you can fine-tune these tools so that they have access to your company's assets, be it specific documents or specific API endpoints or specific parts of your code, and so on. I will share my screen now and take you to the OpenAI Playground. Ina, can you please let me know if you can see my screen? Okay, so here we are in the playground, and you can see here in this drop-down list that the complete and edit are marked as legacy endpoints, and actually you should be focusing on assistants and the chat. Chat is more familiar. You just have this system message and a set of different messages. And something that I wanted to pinpoint here. You can see this add message button. When you add new messages here to the conversation, actually what you do is you create this thread that I was talking about earlier. And once you click submit or run for the assistant button, then you apply these large language models on this specific thread. And the whole context of this conversation is being analyzed by OpenAI, and then the response is being generated based on the whole conversation history. So you're providing a description of what your agent should do. I believe each and every one of you is well acquainted with this interface. Then you add message and so on. And then you have this assistance interface here. And you can create different assistants here by choosing this Create Assistant button. I will use the one that I already created. You provide instructions to this assistant. You can name it. You choose the model. And here you have these tools. There are 3 types of tools, and I believe OpenAI will be adding more in the future. You have functions, you have code interpreter, and you have retrieval. And retrieval and functions are things that are of primary interest for us, conversational designers, since code interpreter is more about application design and more for developers. We will be focusing on retrieving the information from the data that we provide, and we can add different files to this assistant here. And then we can define functions. I will show you in a moment how defining these functions look like. But for now, let's see how we could creatively use these endpoints and these assistants to orchestrate a set of different LLMs within ActiveChat or within any other chatbot design framework. So let me get back to the platform. Here we are in the ActiveChat platform in our Visual Skills Designer. And I believe you are familiar with this intent section. We used it previously to define different messages that customers may send to the chatbot, to the virtual agent. And then we were using natural language understanding, different interfaces from Dialogflow to Wit AI from Facebook to custom interfaces to detect similar phrases that look like something that is listed here. And based on this, we were providing either a simple response or we have been running a skill, one of these skills that you can define here in the automation section. And this works pretty well, but for some situations, when you have too many of different intents, there can be a lot of confusion here. And some of our customers really had issues with this natural language understanding sections. So let's see how we can use the functionality of OpenAI to do this for us as a part of our large language model orchestration. I'll go to the skills section, but first I'll create a specific instruction for my model here. For this specific task, I'll be using the chat endpoint, and the prompt that I provide will look something like this. You are the binary assistant for the business. You do not generate text as a response, but classify incoming messages instead. You are orchestrating a set of other assistants and large language models, each being able to solve specific problems and respond to questions on a specific topic. Your goal is to sort incoming messages by categories and respond only with the category key from the list below. For example, sales. Do not include in your response anything except the category key. Here are the categories and their keys. Sales, everything that relates to buying the company's products, checking order statuses, getting refunds, answering product questions, and so on. Support, everything about the product, how it works, fixing issues, include here everything related to technical support. Human, messages that require human escalation or human agent assistance. And other, everything else that doesn't fall into any of the categories above. So you can see my idea here is to use this large language model to detect the intent behind the customer's message. So let's see how this can work. I will start with something like hi and submit this. And you can see the response is other. So hi definitely doesn't relate to sale or escalation. I'll add another message. When will my order arrive? Something like this, and submit this. And you can see that this is sales. Another message. Do you have TVs in stock? Something like this. Again, sales. How do I fix a broken screen? This is support. talk to someone, and this is human. So you can see here that we are using OpenAI and we are using the completion endpoint to detect the intent behind the customer's message. And definitely, this is a very simple definition. You can have much more categories here. You can have much more keys. You can have much more detailed explanations of how the bot should categorize these incoming messages and so on. But why would we need this? And let me show you a simple example with ActiveChat. So if I go to the skills section, in this default skill, what we used to do before, we have this NLP block that we were using to detect the intent behind the customer's message. But now we can do this in a much more elegant way. We can catch customer's message, and then we can use this endpoint to detect the intent behind this message. I have already prepared the endpoint and the same description. So basically what I'm doing here, I'm accessing the same agent from the API point of view. So I will run the bot and I will test it. And let's try some similar questions to what we did before. Do you offer delivery? And this is sales. I broke my pen. This is support. Agent, please. And this is human escalation. And if I go back to ActiveChat, what I can do now, I can use the switch block here. And instead of typing this message back to the agent, I can check the content of the AI response attribute and set a number of different options. If it equals sales, I will go to one skill. If it equals support, I'll go to another. If it is human escalation, I will trigger a live chat session. And if it is anything else, I'll do something else. So now I can either connect send blocks to trigger new skills from this. Let's actually do something for sales. I'll trigger a sales skill and I'll create this now. Let's suggest it will take me to the sales department and there'll be a specific flow or a specific large language model that can handle this request. Let me remind you that we are talking about large language model orchestration here, and we are using this visual builder to use different large language models and different agents that we can create. So for now, just put something like you are in the sales here, run the bot, and then test it again. Can I buy coffee from you? And you can see that now we are in the sales skill and we can continue our journey with large language models. Please let me know in the comments section if this makes sense and if you are getting this idea of how you can use ActiveChat to do this. Getting back to the assistants and tools that these assistants can use. I have already been describing these tools. You can retrieve different types of content. So basically, you can upload a set of PDF files or previous conversation logs or anything else that the assistant will use to extract information based on the context of your thread of your previous conversation with the chatbot. Or you can have something that is called functions. And let me briefly show you how these functions work. So getting back into the OpenAI playground, I'll go to the assistant section and continue working with this JSON converter. So if I add function here, it requires me a description of the function. And there is already a template provided by OpenAI. Let's actually use the same template so that you can understand how things work. I'll copy this and paste it here. Save the assistant and change the description. Let's say you are a helpful assistant. So I will add the message here. What is the weather in London now? And submit this to the assistant. Actually, what is going on here? Let me take a couple of minutes to explain you the details of this interface. Hold on for a second. I got a message coming in. Okay, so in this right part of your screen, you can actually see the thread, and you can see this thread here. And when you add messages, I can add a message here, but you can see that nothing is happening yet. So what I need to do is actually, I need to make a run, to run this assistant defined on the left side on this thread. And I will do this now. I will click this run button. It can take some time. Be patient. It's taken too long. Looks like something is not right here. I will cancel this run. Maybe I'm having some issues, and I will refresh the page just in case. Okay. Looks like it wants me to create another one. Okay, you're a helpful assistant. Let's try this run again. Maybe it wants me to create another one. Actually, I'll create a new one. Adding the same function, saving the assistant. Canceling this run again. Yeah, it looks like OpenAI API is having some issues, but anyway. So when you do this, we will wait and see if it starts working. You can see the thread ID here. So basically this assistant, you can see the assistant ID here, is being applied to this thread ID. And this assistant ID can have access to different instruments, tools like functions and so on. I'll show you how these functions work when it gets live again. So you can apply to the same conversation different assistants every time. And this gives you an opportunity to use the same context of conversation within ActiveChat or within any other platform that you are using to create chatbots to apply different sets of knowledge on the same conversation. What it means. So we have already mentioned that you can use large language models to detect the intent behind customer's message. But then when the intent is detected, you can respond to the next message or to the same message that was coming from the customer using a different large language model, using a different assistant with a different set of tools, with a different set of knowledge, and so on. And actually, this framework that was introduced by OpenAI, the idea of assistants and tools, ideally lines up with this framework of skills in ActiveChat. So when we introduce our native integration with assistants, it's coming live next week. So please update your licenses when you have an announcement from us that it is live. You'll have this assistant block that you will be able to add to the canvas. And you using this assistant block in your skills, you will be able to build much more complex conversations. So let me clear this. I'll enter another message. Hi there. I will add this and run simultaneously. Let's see if it's okay. Okay, if you have questions or need assistance. Okay, let's ask this new assistant that we added function to a question related to weather. Let me function description looks like. You can see the description, determine weather in my location. And you can see a description of a set of parameters and an expected response, like the temperature, for example. It's up to me to make this function. So functions are pieces of code that you should run on your own computer or in your own cloud. You cannot run this code within OpenAI. You can use code interpreter to do something similar, but when you are using functions, function is expecting some behavior from the external system, like a booking system or maybe your company backend for logging the customer in, or maybe checking the customer's balance, or maybe getting the username and password and so on. So you should build these functions on your end. And if you're using ActiveChat, actually, you can use skills as these functions. In our next video, I'll be showing you how exactly you can use different skills as functions and connect these as tools to OpenAI assistants. But for now, let's get back to the assistant and ask something like, what is the weather in London? And I'll add and run. So when I add new message, I have to run the assistant. And you can see what's going on here. The call for function get weather and location is London. Since this is a playground, OpenAI is expecting that I provide a response manually. So I will do something like this. Temperature -3. Weather sunny, and click submit. And this emulates an actual run of this function with these parameters. And let's see what the assistant comes up with. And you can see the response. The current weather in London is sunny with a temperature of -3 degrees Celsius. So actually what assistant did here, it used my manual input to generate this response based on the instructions and based on the function description here. So what you can do, you can create your own backend functions that will do all kinds of stuff. And you can access your APIs, you can access ActiveChat API, you can provide different actual things done with this new feature. And I believe this is huge. I believe this will allow you to build very complex interactions combined with this orchestration of different models that you can do either manually or with tools like ActiveChat. This is a way to build really powerful and useful conversations. Again, briefly, the goal of large language model orchestration is to specialize your models, to specialize your AI, your generative AI, or any other AI tools that you may be using. Since specialization and narrowing the scope of tasks and narrowing the scope of work for each and every model would be hugely beneficial for the performance, for the efficiency of these models, and at the end of the day, for your customers' experience. So I would suggest that you take a couple of moments with OpenAI Playground to get yourself acquainted with OpenAI assistants, maybe using the material that I shared today, or maybe checking some other videos that are online. And then next week, I'll be showing you how you can use these functions as skills in ActiveChat, and how you can combine different sources of knowledge within a single assistant built on this framework of different assistants working together. Ina.
Yep.
Are there any comments? Are there any questions that we could be answering at the moment?
No, unfortunately not. But I did get an ask for a personal demo. So after
Okay.
the
So, guys, my apologies for audio quality, and the recording will be available. The recording will be much better. So my apologies for this. And basically, we are done for today. Ina, thank you for your help, for your participation. And if you guys didn't check what is happening with Gemini yet, I advise you to do so. And Ina, if you can please share your feedback on what Google released as a competitor to OpenAI's ChatGPT, I would really appreciate that.
We will definitely be, oh my God, my camera is busted. We will definitely be doing it in a follow-up, because I, to be honest, didn't have the time yet to dive deeply into what Google has released. But from what I have seen, it's a very interesting tool in terms of the applications in a day-to-day life, not just personal life, but also business. So far, to be perfectly honest, from their presentation, which I viewed yesterday, I'm not entirely convinced that it wasn't scripted or like pre-scripted, but that does have a huge potential. Even if it was scripted, it has a huge potential to grow into something extremely powerful. So we will definitely be keeping our hand on pulse there to see how we can apply it, and how you later on can apply it to your business models, no matter which vertical you're in. So that's definitely something we will be.
I can see where it is taking us actually. And yeah, guys, I can hear that the audio is scrambled. Sorry for this. So eventually, and this is something that was demonstrated by Google in the recent demo. This has taken us to a world where there will be no need to design applications. You will not need tools like ActiveChat or Facebook or anything else. Basically, all you will have is just a set of these different specialized models, and these experiences will be created for you on the fly. You will not need ActiveChat, for example, or any other tool to build your customer communication. You will just have to express your intent. I want to talk to my customers online, and this intent will be presented to you in the most beneficial form. So the future is really huge for what's going on right now, and I'm excited to see where it takes us. Thank you so much for joining us today, and hopefully this was helpful. And stay tuned for our next series about large language models, about generative AI, and about applying this everything to customer service and sales. Thank you so much.
And if you have any follow-up questions, drop an email to ask@activechat.ai. I will be happy to help you out and answer them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers.